Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, DZ Canon Toys. Hope all of you guys are doing well. Today we have another S.H.Figuarts review to look at, and it is the Frieza First Form and Frieza Pod set. Let's take a quick view of the box and get the unboxing started. Here we have our Frieza First Form unboxed. So out of the box, his tail is detached at the back. So let me just attach the tail and show you guys a 360 view. A simple introduction of Frieza is that he is the Emperor of Universe 7 who controlled his own imperialist army and is feared for his ruthlessness and power. He is the descendant of Chilled, the second son of King Cold, the younger brother of Cooler, and the father of Frieza. Frieza is the main antagonist in the entire franchise of Dragon Ball Z, as his actions led to multiple conflicts and is even considered Goku's greatest foe and arch nemesis. As for the brand S.H.Figuarts, they're a popular line of high-quality collectible figures made by Bandai. The toy line debuted in 2008 and is targeted towards more of the adult fans and series due to its price point and show accurate detailing. Now let's go over the aesthetics and paint job of the figure. In terms of the aesthetics, Frieza over here is actually quite a small character compared to most of the S.H.Figuarts line, and because this is his first form, we do have an interesting and unique design. Starting from the head, when we look at the aesthetics and paint job, we can see that the majority of the head is done in this white and purple color. We do have that signature marble looking rounded off part of Frieza in his design, no matter which form. On his forehead, we have two horns done in this black color, which is reminiscent of King Cold's design. As we move down to the face and the body, we notice that Frieza's skin color is in this light purple, but on the side of his cheeks we have more painting done in pink. When taking a closer look at the side of the cheeks, this characteristic design is seen in many Dragon Ball characters, such as Cell, or even in Dragon Ball Super Hit, we have these colored side cheeks. And for Frieza over here in his S.H.Figuarts form, we do have that extra detailing, that 3D carving done on the pink parts of the cheeks. I'm not sure how well that shows on camera, but it is there to add some extra detailing. Unlike most of the humanoid characters that we've been getting for the S.H.Figuarts Dragon Ball line, for Frieza over here, because he is an alien, we do have his eyes painted in the red color, and looking down at his nose and mouth detailing, we can see more of that 3D look and the lines under his eyes. All of this adds up to a face that really represents Frieza well. Moving down to the midsection, we have that signature Sang armor worn by the Frieza army. But in the case of Frieza over here, although it looks quite similar to other Sangs with the brown shoulder pads, we do have the purple color, which is done in the same purple as his forehead for the chest pieces and the stomach armor. Of course, we have that pale yellow or brown color separation for the stomach armor as well. And all of them have that white color as highlights of the armor itself. Moving down to the lower body and the arms, we do see that pink color again on the arms and used on the tail as well as used on the thighs of this Frieza figure. This pink is the same color on his cheeks. As for the rest of the arms, from the elbow to the wrist, we do have that extra armor piece done in white, again with that light pale brown color separation similarly to the shoulder pads. In addition, for the lower body, from the knees to the feet, we have that similarly looking armor piece on the hands to the elbow. Here we have them in white as well as the light yellow brown color separation padding in the middle. As for his feet, because again Frieza is an alien character, we have a unique feet with 3 toes. The color of the feet is same as his face color as well as his other neck parts skin color is that light purple, but we do have his toenails painted in a black color as highlight. Here's a closer look at the feet. So they're not just simply molded in 3 toes. If you guys can take a closer look, there is some crevices on the toes themselves, and this is nice detailing. In terms of the back of Frieza First Form, there's not much to say over here. The color theme and aesthetics look quite similar to the front view, although we do have that long tail which is molded nicely, and it is in that pink color similar to the upper arms and the upper thighs. But at the end point of the tail, we have that purple color again, which is the same purple for his forehead and also pieces on his chest armor. Now let's move on to the accessories. For the faceplate and head over here, Frieza actually comes with two heads, one attached and one in the box as an accessory. After playing around with them, I noticed that for all of the screaming faceplate, we need to use the other head piece, and for the normal looking face, we need to use the one in front of us. So here we have his normal looking face. Although it does look normal, it is still very reminiscent of Frieza as it has that evil look. The next faceplate looks quite similar to the first one. I won't blame you if you can't tell the difference because I had trouble too. What I noticed is his lips seems more tighter for this one. Also the eye movement, there's a slight eye movements upwards. His lips look like he's about to kiss someone, something like that. That's the difference. For the third faceplate included, we have a teeth clenching face. For the fourth and fifth faceplates, because it is in this type of screaming style, we actually need to use another headpiece due to the spacing issues of the eyes. If we try to use the screaming face on this head over here, it wouldn't fit. And if we were to put these three first faceplate that I show you guys onto the second head, there would be a gap over here. So that's why we have a second head included for the last two facial expressions. Here we have it, the fourth faceplate, and with the new head, it is an evil laughing face with his mouth open. We have some nice detailing of the tongue as well as the teeth. As for the last faceplate, we have this full screaming face. So this one is done pretty well and looks very animated. I really enjoy this one. Moving on, we do have a scouter accessory for this figure, and just by looking at the head, how we attach it is we take off the top part and then we take off the ears on the side, just like that. And we have this piece over here. So for Frieza's scouter, it looks similar to all the other Sang scouter that we've been getting, but this one is done with a pink visor. And all we have to do is plug it in, plug this back on the head, and then plug it here again. Now we have Frieza with the scouter. So quite easy, and in my opinion, the connection is actually better than the other S.H.Figuarts with the scouter armor, such as Vegeta or the recent ones from the Ginyu Force. Here's a closer look at the scouter accessory. So what's the improvement for this faceplate design in my opinion is that unlike the other Figuarts, especially the Ginyu Force characters, for this Frieza, we can use the scouter not only on every facial expression, but we can also use every facial expression without the scouter. Because no matter which headpiece we're using, when not using the scouter, we can just plug the earpiece back on, and when using the scouter, we can just take the earpiece off. Unlike some of the other Figuarts, which forces us to use the scouter for certain facial expressions, because when we take off the scouter for those Figuarts, we'll have an ugly peg exposed. But Frieza over here, he got you covered because we do have the earpiece, which we can take on and off. So that's a good thing done by Figuarts in this release. Moving on to the hand accessories. So we have two closed fists comes attached to the figure straight out of the box. Next up, we have a set of open palms. As for the last set of hands, we actually have different unique individual hand for each side. For the right, we have a pointing finger, which is representing Frieza's signature move, shooting lasers or energy ball. And on the left, we have this sort of tapping position hand, and it is very signature of Frieza's poses as well. Next up is the biggest accessory included in this figure, which is Frieza's pod, the hovering pod, which he sits in for his first form. Often or not, when we see Frieza in his first form, he is sitting in this pod like a boss. So let's check this out. The pod itself looks very nice and is big as Frieza himself. We do have this clear matte stand for the pod. Because the pod itself is hovering, we can just put it here to have the illusion of hovering. The pod itself is done in the black and gold color. The gold looks very well. We have some nice details. At the bottom, it is pointy and is some alien anti-air technology. At the back, we have similarly gold rounded design compared to the sides. Now looking in is where things get interesting. We have this gray over here and red for the seats. We also have half of Frieza's body inside. So this way, when we put Frieza inside, all we need to do is separate him from his body from the waist part and then plug him in over here. And what's interesting is, as seen here, we do have articulation for the waist because this peg does move after we plug it in. Also for the tail as well, we can plug it into this peg, which can move around. Another nice detail is, of course, the dashboard. We have it done in the silver and black color with some red buttons. So overall, this thing looks quite detailed. I actually personally have the Figuarts version as well, so maybe I can show you guys a quick comparison of that one. Here's a quick comparison of the Figuarts hoverpod for Frieza compared to the Figuarts version. Both of them are actually around the same size, but it does seem like the Figuarts version is a bit wider. Obviously, being a model kit, the paint job is less ideal compared to the Figuarts version. Unless you have the skills to paint it, it may look better than the Figuarts one after. Another difference I noticed besides the paintwork is that the seats inside the Figuarts version is yellow. Obviously the dashboard also looks a bit different, as the Figuarts version for the seat is red, as we've seen just a few moments ago. Anyways, let's separate the Frieza over here at the waist part, just like that, and plug him in his pod to see what it looks like. Here's the results after we put Frieza first form in his hoverpod. I have to say it looks quite nice, and it does have a certain vibe to it. I'll probably display this Figuarts in my collection like this. Interesting enough, as I mentioned before, for the head, we still have the articulation retained, but for the body, because we do have a waist peg in the pod, you can kind of wiggle him around, and for the tail as well, you can move it around a bit because it is attached to a joint. So that's overall a nice touch. Moving on, we also have this small accessory. It actually looks kind of like a mini Dragon Ball in this orange metallic color, but this is to represent Frieza's energy ball attack, which we can just attach to the fingers. Here's a closer look. It's quite a nice detailing to have and a nice accessory to have. Looks like Frieza is ready to get rid of whatever planet you're living on. Alternatively, you can also plug this energy ball effect on the other finger pointing forwards for the other hand, and it looks like this. For the last and final accessory, just like all of the Namek figures we've been getting the larger Namek Dragon Ball. It looks quite good and it is clear. We do have the stars here painted on, and this one is the 5-star Namekian Dragon Ball. Now let's check out the articulation. For the head, we have the usual 360, side to side. Faceplate just fell off, but backwards, forwards. So there's actually not too much backwards and forwards. Maybe it's due to the head design. We have side to side. The shoulder armors does go up like that. As for the arms, we can go all the way up. We have that swivel over here at the biceps, the elbow bend, just like that. As for the hands, we have a wiggle, rotate 360. Now for the waist section, we do have a lean forwards, a lean backwards a little bit, side to side, barely any, and rotation. It feels like there's not any rotation at the upper waist. Lower waist, we can rotate easily, and there is a little bit of wiggle, so we can bend it forwards and backwards a little bit. As for the legs, we have that thigh swivel. For the legs, kick all the way upwards, all the way backwards, sideways, pretty good. We don't have any skirt armor hindering the articulation. The knees, we have a bend about that far. And for the feet, we have a 360 rotation. We also have a pretty good side to side, and front to back is pretty crazy too, just like that. So we can do a Frieza floating pose. That's very cool. As for the tail, almost forgot, it is in a joint here, so we can rotate, and we can also bend this joint here to move around. At this section here, we can also do a rotation. And what's really useful about the tail, I noticed that, is you can sort of use it as a stand for Frieza to make sure he stays balanced. I was using that throughout the review. Not sure if you guys noticed, just like that. Yeah, so overall the articulation is pretty good. It's what we expect from Frieza from the S.H.Figuarts line. Now for some size comparisons, here we have the S.H.Figuarts Super Saiyan Blue Goku. Here's the final form Frieza S.H.Figuarts, the first release version. Here is Captain Ginyu, and here is Jess from the Ginyu Force. Here's some non-S.H.Figuarts. We have Figma, John Shinjuku version, Mafex, Deadpool. Time for final thoughts on today's Figuarts First Form Frieza and Hoverpod set review. Overall, I enjoyed this release more than I think I would have. Even though the figure is a smaller figure, it's quite an interesting figure to have and to play around with. Would I recommend this Frieza First Form figure? Well, if you're a long-term collector of Figuarts and you're a fan of Frieza, then this one is definitely an interesting one to have, especially displayed with the Ginyu Force collection. But if you're just a casual fan, I would suggest to just get the final form Frieza instead. Anyways, there goes the end of today's review. If you enjoyed the video, remember to support the channel by liking and subscribing. I would really appreciate that. As always, my friends, remember to stay young at heart, and we're out. Hey, you, since I arrived now, you're pretty much trash. Get out of here.